But Dave, let's move on into our next topic. And we're going from a really high topic of basically like, hey, how high could this guy be? Could he be top 3? To it's like, oh, wait, is this next guy going to be a bust in this year's draft? And the guy we're talking about is Nassir Little. And the reason why we are talking about Nassir today is because, let's be honest, he is really high. You look at Tankathon, he's at number 6. I pulled up SI's latest mock draft that they had from 3 days ago. He's at 6. I don't know where he's going to be on my big board next week because, spoiler alert, he'll probably fall. Yesterday in a loss to Kentucky, off the bench, only played 14 minutes, 2 of 8, a block, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, only had 4 points in the game. Dave, is Nassir Little going to be a bust this year?
I mean, it's hard to say a bust because usually a bust projects out into the NBA.
Like, in this year's draft, will he be the one we look back at and be like, yep, he was the bust?
I think that there's a good chance that, considering he came into this year as the number 3 in the ESPN 100, that there's a solid chance that he will be a bust. I think it was 3 or 4, right?
2 or 3.
2 or 3?
Because there were some that had him as 2.
Okay. So, yeah, no, I think that that's the scary thing is he is not a good college player. His best game was against Elon, obviously. Like, he had 21, 7, and 3 steals and a block. Like, yes, he can have that performance, but that was literally the only game where he scored over 20 points. He did play 20 minutes. Like, he's on a minutes restriction from Roy Williams. And, like, the thing is, you hear Roy's comments about it, and it just sounds like he's like, look, I'm not anti-freshman. I want my players to know what they're doing. And there's a sense that Nassir Little is lost on the court. Like, he doesn't have a high basketball IQ. He seems to have a lot of self-doubt or a lot of thought that goes into what he has to do on the court while playing. It's not instinctual for him anymore.
Well, I mean, the one that I want to throw out with that is, so this is an article from Marin Fader on the BleacherReport.com, their magazine, and it says, so they're at a practice and Roy Williams goes, "What are you doing?" And it says, Little didn't know the answer, just doesn't. He wishes he did. He lifts his chin, doesn't hide, doesn't give lip. I don't know, he admits. Where should I be? And I wonder if, here's the thing that I'm wondering what Nassir Little is, like, you throw out, he's got like a low basketball IQ.
Potentially,
and
yeah.
even from like that, we're just not knowing where he should be on the court. This, to me, is what I was mentioning in the Joss segment of just what's above the head. And I'm talking basketball IQ-wise.
Yeah.
What is above the head is so much more important than what's below. Well, what's above the shoulders is more
like what's above
important
the head is
than
the
what's
hair?
below the shoulder. Yeah, your hair is important. It's all
Sean
about
might
the
think
haircut.
that.
But, I mean, that's where we're at right now. And
Yeah.
the thing that I'm wondering, because Roy Williams, and I've asked this question, like, is just North Carolina misusing him? No. A team like North Carolina is going to be like, I don't care about your draft stock. You got to learn what you're going to do to help us win games. Because Roy Williams, I would say, is different than a Calipari. Where Calipari, yes, he wants to win games, but really his main goal is to get these guys to the draft, get them into the draft, and get them paid. Like, his track record has shown that. Where Roy Williams, a coach that has more national championships, more on that college legacy.
It's a legendary college coach.
He's more worried about winning games at the college level because he's not concerned with
it's his
the
legacy.
NBA. Yeah, and I wonder if, in my mind, if Nassir Little would have been better off going to either a smaller Power 5 school or even a smaller school, a school that just doesn't demand so much from their freshmen.
I don't know that it's that. I think that he'd be better off in a role where there wasn't someone in front of him. You know, obviously, they do have Cam Johnson, who's playing really well right now. He's putting up over 16 points a game, shooting like just below 50% from 3 on the season. So, like, the guy in front of him is playing pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's hard to give him minutes, but at the same time, there's this article from ESPN, Myron Metcalf, talking to Roy Williams, and, you know, talking about how basically he's like, I'm not holding him back. Williams is saying, think about this. If I'm holding the guy back, why am I playing Kobe? Kobe White, for those who don't know. And, you know, why would he be getting the minutes and I'm not giving them to Nassir Little?
Kobe, who had 30 minutes in the game Saturday, went 3 of 10, only 8 points.
Right. But Yet that contribution doesn't seem that great. Doesn't seem like a golden star. But at the same time, if he plays the way Roy Williams wants him to play, and you trust him out there on the court, that's all the difference in the world. And it looks like, from everything we've seen, that Roy Williams doesn't think Nassir Little either has the basketball IQ, understands the system, understands his role in the system, or can produce at the level they require. Like, one of those things doesn't check the boxes, or maybe multiple of those things. So it's really kind of a scary thing when you have one of the top 3 recruits in a class and you don't feel comfortable playing him more than 20 minutes a game, and you have these, conversations during practice where he seems lost. You watch him out there during the game, and yes, he used to have that instinctual thing in high school. He was the best athlete. He'd just go out there, he'd slam on anybody, take the ball court to court, from like baseline to baseline, no problems, ball in his hand. But like, that's not basketball. That's basically a pickup game where you're just physically dominating the opponent. You can't do that at the college level because he's just not that. He's not that next level athlete. He does have an NBA body to him, and that's why there's still a lot of draft hype around him. Basically, it's he'll be a better NBA player than a college player, potentially. But right now, what I'm seeing out of him in college is extremely concerning.
Now, the thing that I just wanted to, like, out of a whim, just look up is, so I was looking at the roster for NC from their last game. And either the 3 or the 4, you mentioned one of them in Johnson.
Yeah, Cam Johnson.
Even guys like Luke May and Brooks, who are ahead of them, all 3 of those guys are not freshmen. One's a sophomore. I think 2 are sophomores and 2 are like, it's either one's a sophomore, 2's a senior, or one's a senior and 2's a sophomore. Luke May is the only one I know for sure that's the senior, but they're all non-freshmen. And the thing that I just was like wondering is, all right, guys who in recent years have come from North Carolina in the draft, what have they been? You look at 2017, Justin Jackson was a junior. Tony Bradley was a freshman. Then you've got in 2016.
So you just stop, hold it right there, because it's Justin Jackson in the NBA, role player. Tony Bradley fighting for a spot on the bench.
Bryce Johnson was a senior. Marcus Page was a senior. You've got J.P. Tokeno, who was a second-round pick with Marcus Page, was a junior.
He ain't anywhere.
The last person that was a freshman, 2007, Brandon Wright was the last one before Tony Bradley, who was a freshman.
And he still bounced around a little bit in the NBA.
This is not a premier one-and-done institution where you've got, I feel like, Kentucky is the one-and-done institution because of Calipari, but Duke is even more of that because of what we've seen with Duke of like 3 this year. You've had
potentially 4 actually.
Like, how many other ones have just been like, hey, I'm going to go to Duke, do my 1 year, and go? We saw Ja, we saw Jabari, we saw, I think Kyrie was a one and done
but
too.
But Nassir was out of the friend group. He wasn't in that group text.
Yeah, he wasn't in the group text.
Zion, RJ, and Cam were all hitting each other up in high school, being like, let's do it up. Let's go to Duke together and just rock it.
And Nassir was like, nah, man, I'm going to go to your rival. And oh, wait, no, we're not going
Odd man
here.
out playing for the old man of college basketball.
Do you think he should, like, here's a question I'm going to throw to you, is I get the debate of, we're not having the debate of going and getting your money or not. Let's say by the deadline to decide to come back or not. Let's say his draft stock does fall, or there's a higher percent that people are saying, like, GMs are like, yeah, I would take you this high, but there's a high bust chance for you. Could you make an argument for him to come back to college but not at UNC? Like, hey, I'm going to transfer. Now, the thing that's sticky about that is,
wouldn't he miss?
If you transfer, you'd have to sit out a year.
Zero chance. Zero chance he does that because the NBA draft stock is so fleeting. Like, if you have the national spotlight as a top draft pick, potentially going into the class, the longer you stay, the more forgotten you get. Remember Grayson Allen? He had that breakout his freshman year during the tournament, and everyone's like, he could be a late 1. He could be a mid-round 1. And then he floated and he bounced back the next year. He was like, oh, well, maybe he'd be a late 1 to an early 2, then early 2, and then he bounced back into that late 1 round range, which I love. Like that, I love the pick. He obviously hasn't had enough minutes to work out at the NBA level yet, but like, I think the longer you stay, the more concern it gets because the more weaknesses and holes in your game it kind of exposes. And with Nassir Little, like, this might be a double-edged sword where he's being protected because he's only out there for 20 minutes a night. But at the same time, it raises questions. And I guess it's better to have questions against you than like a known, like, this guy's got problems in his game. So for me, I would say he's 100%. He should take the money, go to the NBA. I mean, at worst, I see his draft stock falling down to like 20, probably around 20.
He's not going to fall out of the first round.
I don't think he's at risk of falling out of the first round. He has a great NBA size to him. He's 6'6". He's got good muscle mass to him. He's not skinny. He's got a good built form. So it's the hope that like he can be more than just a slasher at the NBA level. And right now he's really riding high on his athleticism. His outside shot, worthless, just absolutely worthless. And that's what Roy's trying to coach him into. They're trying to get him to expand his game there, but he's not able to do. It's not something you could do quickly. Obviously, I get that, but like, we haven't seen anything out of him yet, really, other than the fact that he is a dynamic driver in the lane, really.
Because like I think it is a sticky situation for him because the only way. I agree with you if it's like if he's thinking like I can't learn here, I can't learn the like where to be. This coaching
I mean, he's literally
staff,
the best coach in college basketball history. He's one of the best in college basketball history.
But if it's just like, hey, something ain't clicking here, he's got to go then into the draft because you're not going to sit out. Because I wanted to see if it was the same football for basketball, and it is, where it says right here, if you transfer from a 4-year college to an NCAA school, they have to complete 1 academic year at the residence of the new school before they can play. So the same exact
that'd be a
rule
catastrophe for him
as football. But the only one where I'd go maybe, but I'd still lean towards going to the draft is if it's like, hey, I've put in so much work here. I'm not going to – what if he fall? And he's like not a top 10 pick. He falls out of the top 10. Goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to stay here at UNC another year. I'm going to work on my game more. I'm going to work with this coach who's one of the best coaches. Like that sense, I'd be like, okay, I can debate that choice. But the thing is that I look at is like, look at Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
He went to the NBA. Was he a rock star his first 2-3 years? No. He got his body right, learned from basically the coaching staff.
Personal trainers 24/7, just focused on basketball.
And now he's a superstar. I mean, his personality plays into the superstar
100%.
as well.
But I mean, like, that's the thing is, do you think you have more to learn from a coach like Roy Williams, but you have to still attend school at some aspect? Like, you're not 100% in
Where
on
you
basketball.
Go to the NBA and not have to play school.
Exactly. You don't play school.
To go Cardell Jones.
I was like, I like that. I knew that was Cardell Jones.
We ain't here to play school.
Exactly. So I think that it would be an interesting move if his draft stock fell so much that he felt like he was better off going back to school and playing for Roy Williams again. That'd be interesting because he might go like during the draft process. They basically have the interviews one-on-one with team, and you get to kind of get some perspective. And some of them might tell him like, you're a project.
Yeah,
you're not someone who's going to get minutes year one.
Do you think his stock is going to fall? Because as of right now, like people might be saying, "What are you guys talking about?" His stock has not fallen. Like
he went from pick 4 to pick 6, pick 7. In my mind, he's closer to pick 11, pick 12.
Yeah.
And I see him trending downward.
The general populace right now still has him at 6. Like, is it a foregone conclusion in your mind? And I think I do know the answer because you just said it.
Yeah.
That he is going to fall to that, let's say 20, where you said is the lowest he can fall.
I think he will fall to late lottery, potentially out of lottery. Yes. Okay. Because he's an undersized wing. Like, he's 6'6". He has a good body size, but he's still just 6'6". Unless he hits a growth spurt, which entirely possible. These kids are young.
And the thing I worry about too is, and they say it in this Bleacher Report article where it said, let's see, where is it? Yeah, but that's all he's doing now. Thinking. He's realizing defense isn't necessarily an effort thing or a want it bad enough thing. It's angles, it's timing, it's positioning, it's precision. And they go on to say, like, in high school, all he had to do was, right here, if he wanted to block a ball, he just puts up his arm and blocks it. If he wanted to steal a ball, here, let me pull my arm out here. Boom, it's magically in my hand.
Yeah.
And the thing that I worry about is if I'm an NBA scout, if I'm an NBA GM, the thing I worry is, all right, he's having trouble against college-level talent right now.
Yeah.
How many years is it going to be then before he's able to go up against NBA talent? Because each level you go up,
right,
the guys get bigger, the guys get stronger, the guys get smarter.
Again, 6'6", with that 7'2" wingspan, like you said, it was just as easy as reaching his arm out there. Like 7'2" is a ridiculous wingspan for a guy with his height. So
especially in high school.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If he continues to grow and build, yeah, some team's definitely going to want him for a project. Like at some point, like we watched last year with Michael Porter.
Yeah.
He fell because of his injury, but at the same time, like at some point, you got to pull the trigger on potential. That dude was a scoring god basically in high school. And, we didn't get to see it in college too much because of his injury, but the body and the work was already there. With Nassir Little, we're not seeing what he can truly be in college because the question is, is it just his team and his coach are saying that, look, you're not ready to play major minutes, you're not ready to contribute a major role on our team right now? Or in my mind, is there something else that your game is too narrow? Like you've got great wingspan, you've got, you're a little undersized from a height perspective, but really all you bring to the table is you're a slashing wing. Like you don't have an outside shot. You can't force teams to respect your 3-point shot. That's really hurtful. Just
to put it this way, these are some names that I'm giving you the credit for. You brought these out because of one of the articles you were looking at.
I started going back through ESPN 100s to see have we had guys in the top 5, top 10
and I'm
who've fallen.
I'm gonna create this based off of that.
Yeah,
it's what are you gonna be at your highest point? Are you gonna be a Hamidou Diallo where it's like, you know what? We can work with you. We can work with this at the next level, and he can contribute to an NBA team. Or his low point, which will be Cliff Alexander, of, hey, you were really good in high school, didn't really do much in college, and then got to the NBA and didn't do anything. Like Cliff Alexander didn't get drafted, went to Portland, went around the D-League/G League, and now is playing in Germany professionally.
Yeah.
Like, that is the low. Hamidou and
Hamidou wasn't even like a top 100.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if he falls out, like
no,
take the 100.
Okay, you're going different angle completely then.
Like, just his potential of is he going to be the project? Because that's what I'm listing him right now. Is he going to be the project for an NBA team that says, hey, I can work with him, much like Oklahoma City right now with Hamidou, or is he going to be that Cliff Alexander that doesn't go undrafted but gets drafted? And then fizzles out because it's like we couldn't work with you. We couldn't do anything because you just couldn't progress.
Yeah, I mean that's tough because Cliff had a unique set of circumstances around him not being able to pick up at the NBA level. I don't know. I think that he's got.
And if Nassir's already having trouble picking up the college level,
right? No,
it's just going to get harder.
I got you. Hamidou legit was just an athlete.
Yeah,
Nassir at least has more to his game than that, and he also has a better physical form than Hamidou. But I think that he's better than Nassir. Nassir's better than Nassir. Yeah, I think he has potential than
Hamidou.
Yeah, he has better potential than Hamidou Diallo. Like Cliff Alexander was a top 3 going into his class, and obviously bombed out in college. He wasn't the stud. He didn't take his team to the national championship or anything like that. So the spotlight kind of fell, and it was kind of disappointing they didn't get drafted for him at least. And he bombed out as a project. I don't think we're going to hit that point with Nassir Little just because this draft class is not deep. Like that was a deeper class by far. So I think that, he's still going to warrant like a late lotto pick just because of his potential, his size, his body build. And if you give him the ball in the lane, he can go score for you. But
what about the other
Why do you
name?
want to have a 6'6" guy?
What about the other name I didn't mention? I'm saving it for you because this guy you had mentioned to me before the podcast, a top recruited guy, only got drafted at 28th. Do you remember who we were talking about? Scal.
Yeah.
Like, that's another one of two. It's like, could that be what we're looking at this year with Nassir? Top 2 guy in recruiting, drafted, I'm not even going to say lotto, I'll say like you, drafted 20 or below in this NBA draft. Because I could see it. And it all depends on
Scal
how
played
the
really
season
badly.
goes.
Like really badly at Kentucky.
And I wonder if, because with Nassir, I still ask the question, I still have this question. I'm like, is it just his usage? Is it kind of the master holding the student back in a way, too, of, hey, you're going to have to work these out in practice, get limited minutes in game, where if maybe he was getting more minutes at a smaller school,
right?
Like, let's say he was in Ja's situation, he was at Murray State.
Yeah.
He would get 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
He would have more opportunities to work these out in a game situation, which is way different than practice.
I mean, I agree with that. I think Scal was interesting because that was Jamal Murray's team. point in case, and they still had Polythirst there.
The arrow.
Oh, the arrow, yeah. They still had Alex Polythirst there, and he was soaking up a lot of minutes. So, yeah, Scout played like 15 minutes a game. A little bit less than Nassir's playing right now. But he also, like, I guess you're right. Like, he didn't do much with his opportunity out there. But he was a 4. He was supposed to be a 4 with a great offensive skill set, and, like, it didn't really shine for him. Nassir was known for basically his wingspan and his ability to dunk on everything that exists. So I don't want to make a straight comp there, but I guess you could say they both had disappointing college runs at big schools. I agree though with you about if he had gone to a much smaller school, or even just a
lower Power 5,
a lower Power 5 with
like in Illinois and Arkansas and Alabama, like Colin Sexton did.
Knowing that the guy in front of you, knowing that there's no guy in front of you, like that's a conversation you should have while you're being like recruited. It's you go to talk to the coach, go, okay, so if I sign with your school, I'm starting and I'm getting X minutes a game, right? Right? Because if not, I'm not going there.
And that's the thing that it depends on recruit to recruit.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if it was a situation where it sounded like, yeah, there's this other guy, but oh no, like if in his head he thought,
well, is that like you can earn? I feel like that Roy Williams is very much an earn it.
But
Roy Williams will be like, you can earn your spot if you're good enough, you'll start.
And
if
in
you're good enough,
Nassir's head, I wonder if because of what he's dominating in high school.
Yeah.
So he's probably thinking to himself, yeah, this will be no problem. I'll earn my spot on that team. And now that he's in it, it's like, whoa, if I knew this, I'd be telling my old self, hey, let's not take this offer because where my confidence was is not where I am. Like, I'm overconfident because I'm dominating in high school.
Yeah.
I get here and it's like I'm not earning my spot.
Right.
Like, and then, like you said, it's like you're kind of then running yourself into a brick wall to try to get above that guy in front of you, but you're not really helping yourself because you're just overthinking.
And they've got different skill sets too. Like I said, Cam was shooting almost 50% from 3. Like Nassir Little would be happy to shoot like 30% from 3. It's just not a skill set. And what's more valuable in today's NBA right now?
Is that I was going to say, is that going to hurt his draft stock even more than he can't shoot the 3 ball?
Absolutely. You can't have a 2 guard or a wing out there who can't shoot a 3 in today's NBA.
Because, like, let's put it this way. I'm going to bring up Draymond Green again because I love bringing him up.
Sure.
He can shoot the 3 ball at an okay rate. Right now, all the talking heads on ESPN are freaking out. Oh, my God. Draymond Green's not hitting threes. Can the Warriors win a championship without him hitting threes? Like, that's where we're at.
The answer is yes, because DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, DeMarcus Cousins is coming back. But, I mean, that's where we're at, where it's like, even a guy like Draymond, if he starts missing threes, we all panic if the Warriors can win a championship because someone's missing their threes. Yeah. I know it's the Warriors, and like it's the 3 is like their religion out there.
Pretty much.
But I mean, that's the NBA that we live in.
It would be very hard to find a starting. Can you name a starting 2 or 3 in the NBA who can't shoot the 3? I don't think he can. Yeah, that's my point. Like, there's literally nobody out there. Like, everybody at least has some form of a respectable 3.
Or
like, even if it's not great.
Some, like you mentioned with Russ and the Ja topic.
Yeah.
Develop that 3 at the next level so that they're competent at the 3 ball in the NBA. Like, I'm trying to think. Is there one, like, the only one that pops into my head is no longer in the league, and he got out right before the 3 ball made its revolution? Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce lived in the mid-range game. Yeah. That was his kingdom. That was little elbow extended, and then he got out right before this 3 wave. Yeah. Like, look at the Spurs. DeMar DeRozan, I'll say.
He's got a 3.
It's not. It's a weaker 3 is what I'm saying. Like, he's more of a. He's got a 3, but it's not a strong 3. He's got a stronger mid-range game is what I would say.
Oh, no one's going to deny his mid-range game is greater. Wow, his 3 really sucks this year.
Yeah. That's
16%.
Like, this year, he's horrible.
I was still thinking about last year. I was like, oh, he made it all the way up to 31% last year.
No, this year he's not that high. Like, this year's DeMar DeRozan, I say, would be the weakest outside
Nassir, at least DeMar stretches out to the mid-range.
Yeah.
Nassir lives in the paint at 6'6". Yeah. Can you do that in the NBA?
No, he can't.
Except if you're Zion Williamson.
Maybe.
Boom.
Yeah, and Zion, because he's got those python.
Exactly.
He's got those tree trunks for both arms and legs.
The man's a bowling ball.
This is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below. Will Nassir Little be a bust in this year's NBA draft? What are you thinking is the situation? Does he just need to go to the NBA and get better? Well, not better coaching, but does he not have to play
24/7
school?
basketball, live basketball?
Basically, is that what he's got to do? Let us know what you think down below in the comment section.